Alongside me is John McLaughlin. And John, Denver Nuggets can clinch a playoff berth today.
Well, they certainly hope they do. They haven't been playing well lately. They lost 6 of the last 8 games, and Coach Larry Brown of the Nuggets says they're not playing with a lot of confidence, and he's trying to talk to his club about going out and just playing with a little bit more confidence and taking each game one at a time. They're a little concerned in those areas.
You know, Houston's had a long year because of injuries, but they could be a real spoiler, as evidenced last night by their win over Philadelphia.
They can certainly be spoilers, and with a guy like Calvin Murphy on your club, you're always a potential winner. He can score a lot of points. He's been doing it for some time. He's a winner, and they still have some players on that team who want to knock these other clubs off for sure.
You know, Houston has played very tough against Denver, even though they've lost the first 2 games. Let's check now the starting lineups for this afternoon's game. Going to have a little change. Alonzo Bradley, who started last night at 13 points, will open at 1 forward. Robert Reid, the rookie, Kevin Kunnert, John Lucas, and Calvin Murphy. Denver, well, they've been starting Anthony Roberts, the young rookie from Oral Roberts, at 1 forward, along with Bob Jones, Issel, Thompson, and Bobby Wilkerson. Our 2 officials for today's game. Number 19, with his back to you, Jim Capers, and he's assisted by Hugh Evans. And Kevin Kunnert, number 44, will go up at center circle against Bob Jones. Kunnert, according to Tom Nasalki, has played very well, but he's really missed. Moses Malone has been out of the lineup with that injury. The tip goes off to Denver. This is Bobby Wilkerson, and what a quarterback he has become for this basketball team. Dan Issel, Anthony Roberts trying to give chase, and a turnover to start a game, John.
Well, I think that's a typical example of how Denver has been playing lately, and Larry Brown very concerned with their turnovers and somewhat of the lackadaisical play. That time, Bobby Jones started to cut through the middle and just didn't see the pass coming.
Well, you know, Denver has lost 6 of their last 8. They've lost 8 games at home, including Friday night against Seattle. That's just not indicative of their play.
No, it isn't. And obviously the pressure's there. And not only do the players put it on themselves, the coaches, the entire organization here in Denver, they're a very fine organization, but the fans getting a little restless also.
All right, let's check it now. Kevin Kunnert has the ball. He kicks it out now to Bradley, the young man from Texas Southern, that they picked up from Indiana. Calvin Murphy on the drive, and he loves to shoot from the baseline.
He sure does, and that's part of the strategy, of course. Force Calvin Murphy to his left, try to give as much help as possible. They know that he's going to shoot, and potentially the Rockets won at least 40 points out of it, Calvin, today.
I wonder what that delay was about. The ball kicked out, hit the timer, reset the time clock, so we had to delay the game to get it ready to go. We're ready to go now. Just underway. Here's John Lucas, the number 1 draft pick a year ago of all the NBA. Bobby Jones brings it down to Thompson. Anthony Roberts, who started now the last 6 games for the Denver Nuggets. Thompson. Kunnert with a rebound. Thompson, in the first game between these 2 teams this year, had 41 points. Lucas to Murphy. There's his shot, John.
That is his shot. He does it so very well. He puts a lot of arch on the ball. It's very difficult for the big guys to block it, but they must continue to go out and try to intimidate that shot.
Boy, has he been something. Averaging over 30 points since the All-Star break. We got a foul inside. And one thing about Calvin Murphy, he may be at 5'9", the best 5'9" player to ever play this game.
Well, it's a real tribute to his ability. He's looking at everyone's waist in there. That's
into the belly button, right? That foul was on Kunnert, by the way. Rebound Wilkerson, batted away by Bradley. It will be Denver's basketball. The Denver Nuggets, with a win today, could clinch a playoff berth. However, if Milwaukee would lose, then they would even be in better shape. And then they would have the division title clinched. Here's Anthony Roberts.
Roberts playing very well. They've been pleased with him. Darnell Hillman came in after the trade and coming here to Denver, had the starting position, but not being consistent, they started bringing Roberts in.
2-2 our score, 10:28 to go, first period. There's Calvin Murphy. Tell you, they let him shoot that, he'll hit all afternoon long.
That's right. They're going to have to go out and play Calvin and at least force him to go to his left as much as possible. Make him put the ball down. He can shoot too well to give him an open shot like that.
He's had 50 points in the 2 previous meetings between these 2. Here's Issel. Kunnert with a fine block that time on Issel. Issel didn't like it.
That's right. He sure did. Some nice weak side help also. The Rockets keying there.
Lucas off to Alonzo Bradley, the number 2 draft pick from Indiana. They got him for Ron B. Hagan. Here comes Bobby Wilkerson. Wilkerson, very underrated, an excellent passer. Thompson. And he's hammered as he goes inside. Reid picking up the foul.
Now we'll get an opportunity to look at the previous block. Issel turning, going baseline. He's quick for a big guy, but look at the help from Bradley. And Kunnert positioning very nicely, went up to block the shot.
Thompson will have a pair of free throws coming. That foul on Robert Reid, the fine rookie from St. Mary's in San Antonio, Texas.
Houston uses Robert Reid on David Thompson, and they put the little guy John Lucas up front on a forward. guarding, well, they're mixing it up somewhat. They're having difficulty trying to keep him being posted, but they put him up front on Roberts as much as possible.
Reid has been a pleasant surprise for this basketball team. Here's Lucas out of Maryland to Calvin Murphy. Murphy, nice pass to Kevin Kunnert.
Basic pick and roll. Calvin can also pass the ball.
Kevin Kunnert at 7 foot out of the University of Iowa. Former #1 draft pick of Chicago. That's charging on Wilkerson.
That was a good call. The official right on it. Wilkerson trying to make the move right side, but Calvin Murphy too quick. Here's the previous basket. Pick. They're keying on Murphy. He makes the play and dunk.
You know, this guard combination of Lucas and Murphy, they can pass the ball. Coming into this game, Lucas is second in the NBA in assists. Alonzo Bradley with Issel on him, and Bradley wants the shot. Thompson, Kunnert comes away with it. That might be some of that intensity that Larry Brown's been complaining about, not getting on the board.
The Nuggets in the past, they've always blocked off very nicely. You cannot allow offensive rebounds. It's too easy.
Houston with a 4-point lead, 8-4. Bobby Jones leading the NBA in field goal percentage. Out it comes to Reid, and Murphy will bring it across. We're going to a 20-second injury timeout coming up. Dick Vandervoort is coming out. He's going to look at Kevin Kunnert. Looks like a wrist or a hand.
Well, with all the injuries the Rockets have had, I'm sure they get paranoid when anyone calls the 20. Here's the previous rebound. Kunnert coming inside, getting an offensive rebound. The ball came off. Actually, the Nuggets should have had it. Putting it back in, and that's just too easy.
Looks like they're putting some of that freeze stuff on him, trying to take the pain away. This reminder now, immediately following the conclusion of this game, we'll have live coverage from Long Beach, California, the U.S. Grand Prix. Ariel already is back. Nicky Lotta. That should be something. Live coverage immediately following this game. We've got a timeout now here at the McNichols Sports Arena with 8:52 to go in our first period. Houston Rockets are on top by 4. Okay, Kevin Kunnert's going to be able to continue in the game. He hit his crazy bone. His hand went numb, but he's in. And right now, Houston with a 4-point lead, John.
Might be a good time to talk about strategies. Houston, of course, wants to slow the ball down. They don't want Denver to get out and start running. They don't want to run with them. They want to control the game as much as possible. Defensively, they'll push to the sides and try to force Denver into the jump shot outside.
Here's Thompson on Lucas. Calvin Murphy. Murphy out here with 4 points. He can't get that one. And Issel. Dan Issel had 31 points Friday night against Seattle. Up it comes to David Thompson. You know, they list him at 6'4.5", John, but they tell me he's really 6'3".
It's amazing. He is only 6'3", but he's got an arm reach that makes him about 7'4".
Boy, what a player he has been. Here's John Lucas driving in, and he took it all away, and Houston fired up.
That's something the Nuggets have been very concerned with, the penetration of Lucas. They say they've taken it away from him in the past, but today he's been getting inside already.
You know, Denver dropped behind 16 points Friday night against Seattle, tried to make their move and couldn't. And right now they're behind 10-4 at 8:06 first period.
Well, the Nuggets don't seem to be playing their game. They normally move the ball a lot quicker and try to get out and run more. And right now they're playing very hesitant.
Reid brings it out to Murphy. Calvin Murphy, look at that little guy. Kunnert inside, and good hustle by Kevin Kunnert.
Kunnert once again getting an offensive rebound. Here you see John Lucas going right down the lane, laying the ball in. You cannot allow this. You must take that away from him.
And surprisingly, Houston up now 12-4 with 7.5 minutes to go in the first period. We'll be switching throughout the course of this day, checking games. Connect Washington, Philadelphia, San Antonio, Milwaukee, and Detroit. Here comes Lucas, and right now Houston is making Denver look bad. Nice. Off the left hand last shot.
Difficult shot right there. David Thompson playing the good defense, getting back to take away the drive, but Lucas pulling up, putting in the jumper.
You can see why Larry Brown had that closed-door meeting, John. The intensity is not there for Denver.
Well, so far, Houston's doing a little bit more running than Denver, and they didn't really want to do that.
Here's David Thompson. He's going to try to take things over, but it won't do it, and Kunnert's getting a bundle of rebounds here in the early going. Here's Lucas. John Lucas can't get it. Nobody back to rebound on that shot.
Well, I'm sure Tom Muscocki not happy with that. He would rather have Lucas pull the ball up and run a set play.
That's Reid, the rookie from Nevada, Las Vegas, who was cut previously this year, then came back. And he is at 5'11", a very small man, but he plays big for the Denver Nuggets. 14-4, a 10-point lead for Houston. Alonzo Bradley. Here's Reid. Reid knew Tom Muscocki very well when Tom was coaching in San Antonio. Here's Bradley, and Alonzo Bradley hits it. And believe it or not, it's 16-4.
The Rockets mixing up their game very nicely, and I don't think they really plan to have this much freedom offensively. The Nugget defense really isn't that tough.
Here's Dan Issel. Boy, it just won't go down for him. And Bradley's got it. And the crowd here now is starting to get a little impatient. Lucas out to Calvin Murphy. He won't miss very many of those. Thompson brings it down. Bringing it up now is Robert Smith.
Well, the Nuggets need a lot more of that. That's the way they like to play. Get out and take the opportunity basket. And they, of course, need it from Bobby Jones. They need scoring from Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones going right down the middle on a nice play, laying the ball in.
That's the reason he shoots so good percentage-wise. He gets a lot of those layups. We got a foul on Smith, and now Bobby Wilkerson is checking back into the Denver lineup. Anthony Roberts the lead. That's only the first team foul is Tom Nasaki. Last year, the coach of the year. What a bitter year this has been for his team.
He's done an excellent job, too, even to remain competitive, whatever, in any capacity with the injuries they've had. Same way in Portland, they've had a tremendous amount of injuries.
Houston has not been able to put that Pat lineup in for a long, long time. I think 17 games they've had their starting lineup in, as they've had everybody hurt. It seems like a one time or another. That was Thompson with the block. Smith and David Thompson. David Thompson now with 4 points, and now he's starting to bring the Nuggets back.
The Nuggets starting to get their offense going a little bit, and as I mentioned, they have to run. They have to get moving for them to be effective, and they have to do things like that. Bobby Jones trying to come over play the passing lane, and make a steal.
This is Darnell Hillman. Now, here's an interesting story, John. When they got Hillman, they thought he'd be a starter, but he's been better coming off the bench.
Well, he played well for them in about the first 5 games, and Darnell having some difficulty in sustaining any type of consistency.
16-8 our score, 5 minutes, first period remaining. Steal attempt by David Thompson. It'll be Houston basketball. The Houston Rockets had their worst mark since their first year in existence. They won only 1 game. They were 1-13. They've lost 14 of the last 16, but last night defeated Philadelphia. You don't know what to expect.
Going into April 1st, Jerry, they had something like 9 players out for 197 games. That's amazing.
That foul, by the way, on Bradley. The basket did not count. It's 16-8. The Rockets on top. Houston trying to be the spoiler, like they were last night against Philadelphia. They didn't get in here till about 2:30 this morning.
They had to charter a plane to do that, yes.
But they look like they've come to play here as they started out hustling very well. Here's Thompson. Oh, we got his ball foul.
Dan Issel a little upset with that, trying to get inside for that offensive rebound and got caught for the push-off.
Now we have a change coming into the lineup. Ed Ratleef, number 42, checks in for Houston. Tom Nasaki told us he's starting to put it together.
Starting to play. He can play forward. He can play guard. He said he's really having some difficulty knowing what he can do best, but he plays the overall game pretty well.
Murphy into big Kunnert. He can hook with either hand. And we've got a foul. Loose ball foul. He's going to go against Alonzo Bradley. He comes up in his face, too. That hurts.
Denver only 3 of 14 from the field. Here the ball going into Kunnert, showing you, hey, I do have the left hand. Not going all the way down, though.
John, I think it's interesting the respect that they have for Calvin Murphy. They're playing this guy Smith for the very reason to stay on Calvin.
Well, many clubs try to push Calvin to the left and give as much double-team help as they possibly can, but he still gets that shot off.
There's Darnell Hillman. Kunnert again with a good defensive board, and he has been in position the entire first period. Lucas penetrating well, and he is hurting them in there.
Well, he's tough. He gets so deep. He comes up the middle of the court. In their last meeting, he had 18 assists, which tied his career high.
But John Lucas now makes it 18-8. They're back up on 10. Bo Ellis now will be checking in to the Denver lineup. We've got a timeout. 3:50 to go in this first period. The Houston Rockets trying to win their second game in a row, leading by 10. All right, we come back in the action. A shot missed by Denver, and look at the scramble for the ball. Kevin Kunnert picks up the foul, slaps his hand down, and Dwight Jones will now check in for Houston, as now Houston is in the penalty already.
You see the good defensive effort here by Houston. They're really swarming the ball very nicely, and Darnell Hillman going on the court along with Kevin Kunnert, 2 pretty big guys down there.
Kunnert's going to have to come out, John. That's his 3rd personal foul. We said the penalty now in effect. And at the line, Darnell Hillman. Dr. Dunk. Boy, they got him. Acquired him from the New York Nets for a 79 draft pick and some cash. What a steal. Of course, he won that CS slam dunk last year.
Well, he can certainly get up around the basket and do a lot of things. I think he's a very fine basketball player, and I thought this was a fine trade or acquisition for Denver, but it just hasn't worked out. He hasn't found the wings yet, and they're quite concerned with that.
18-9, Lucas picked up by Wilkerson. A real mismatch outside, 6'7" against 6'3". That's where Wilkerson's so tough at that size to play a guard. Here's Murphy with Smith on him. He got the screen from Jones. Rebound, Wilkerson. Bobby Wilkerson. Bo Ellis trying to follow. Broken up nicely that time by Alonzo Bradley. Here's Lucas. Houston continues to hustle. Bobby Smith comes up with a deflection. Boy, it's a little fast and furious now. Here's Wilkerson again. And right now, both teams a little out of control.
Well, they certainly are. Houston not wanting to run like that, but you get those two little quick guards, Lucas and Murphy, they want to bring the ball out. Lucas trying to penetrate inside. Smith reaching in with the good hands and deflecting the ball and making the turnover.
So Larry Brown, who's very concerned about his basketball team, has called a timeout. The Houston Rockets with an 18-9 lead, 2:57 first period. Gary Bender along with John McLaughlin. Right now, the Denver Nuggets have a chance to clinch a playoff berth. They're not playing very good basketball. They trail the Houston Rockets 18-9. Just inside 3 minutes to go in this first period.
Well, they're attempting to tighten up the defense, try to play the passing lanes, and when your offense is really a little sluggish, the best thing to do is tighten up the defense and make the other team turn the ball over.
All right, Ralph Simpson, number 10 with the ball, is just checked in. He's starting to play much better. Bo Ellis playing with that bad knee. And he's been fouled. A foul going against Dwight Jones. Boy, I tell you, in that first part of the game, Denver's only hit 3 of 17 from the field.
You see the setup here. They're trying to post up for Ellis inside, and he's very good around the basket area, drawing the foul there.
Penalty in again. Bo Ellis, number 1 draft pick of Washington. They picked him up, and he's had trouble with that right knee.
He's had some problems. He says it feels a lot better over the last few weeks, and he's starting to feel quite a bit more confident.
As Denver goes down the stretch, they'd like to have him at 100%. And they now have another free throw coming.
You know, it's interesting, coming into today's game, Houston really not a good shooting team in losing Tomjanovich, Malone, and Newland, which really hurts, but right now they seem to be shooting the ball pretty fair.
18-10 our score. John Lucas, off it comes to Ed Ratleef, the number 1 draft pick in 73. Here's Bradley, out to Lucas. Ratleef at 6'6", going against Simpson, tough shot. Bobby Wilkerson can't save it, and he goes into the crowd. I believe he's going to be all right. Sure, Larry Brown a little concerned. How about that guy in the front row? He must have felt that one.
Took some people with him in that situation. That really was not a good shot by Ratleef. And I know Tom Masalki would like to have a better shot than that. He's demanding his club to get a lot of off-ball movement, and of course that's very smart.
Lucas now the real quarterback of this team. Murphy's having a tough time getting away from Robert Smith. They can't get him open. Ratleef trying to make things happen off to Bradley. Rainbow jumper.
Nice penetration by Ratleef, and that's the value of penetration. Not only can you set your teammates up, but in any situations it'll open something up for you. 4
points for Bradley. It's back to a 10-point lead now for Houston. Simpson off to Wilkerson. Wilkerson, nice play. Boy, that's a fine play.
That's a tough shot. He has tremendous abilities. He's a very quick player. He has tremendous range. And he's having a little difficult time shooting outside, although lately he's been shooting a lot better than he has earlier in the season.
Well, he's averaging over 11 points a game. Last year in Seattle, he just scored a little over 6, so he's got a lot more playing time, and he's taking advantage of it. Dwight Jones, and there goes the big guy up for the rebound in Hillman.
Well, that's what he does very well, and that's what he must do.
Look at that play by Smith. Ratleef off to Lucas. Houston doesn't run very often, but they're starting now. Off to Calvin Murphy. Fine, fake. Wait a minute. Going over the top of him was Hillman. He just disappeared. You couldn't even find Murphy after that play.
Here you get an opportunity to see Bobby Wilkerson going baseline. Now watch him reach out all the way on the other side of the basket. The big guy coming in, Jones, to try to intimidate, but no, sir. Wilkerson puts it in.
All right, that's Robert Reid, the rookie. Their number 2 draft pick in the 2nd round. They did not have a number 1 pick this year.
They're very pleased with Robert Reid. He's a very fine player. He can go inside. He can go outside. Has a pretty complete game.
Calvin Murphy now with 5 points. This guy is 2nd in the NBA in free throw percentage. Only Rick Barry is better.
Every year, those two. No one else.
22-12. Houston continues to keep that advantage. 1:17 to go before the end of our first period. At halftime, we'll have Dan Issel and Ron Boone and Hort. Bo Ellis in. Bo Ellis is the guy that Al McGuire was so pleased with his play that year they won the NCAA championship. Steal attempt by Ellis. It'll be Houston's basketball.
The Nuggets normally do that very nicely, Gary. They try to come up and intimidate and push the forwards out as far from the basket as possible.
Calvin Murphy, look, you talk about a mismatch. 6'9" against 5'9". There's Lucas. Nice pass to Jones. He's fouled. No, wait a minute. He traveled to the ball, I believe. Nope, they're going to call a foul on Bo Ellis.
Lucas indicating to Jones to put the ball up. Now, Lucas made a nice pass there, but Jones knew when to go. Once Lucas comes off, if you go to the basket, he's going to find you.
Both teams now in the penalty. And at the line, Dwight Jones. Young man, fifth-year player from the University of Houston. Number 1 draft pick for Atlanta in 73. Acquired in 76. Played on that Olympic team, 1972. His first point. He started quite a bit this year due to a lot of injuries.
Plays forward and center. Of course, right now he has to play a lot of center. Kunnert out on fouls with 3 right now. That could, of course, hurt Houston quite a bit.
24-14, a 10-point lead for Houston. Bo Ellis with Jones on him. Here's Simpson. And Simpson trying to go inside. A foul. There is your game clock, 37 seconds. Foul. And at the line goes Simpson. Simpson, by the way, John, is shooting only 27% from the field.
Well, the Nuggets feel that he's a real key for this club also. They acquired him because they felt they needed outside shooting. They gave up Jimmy Price, a fellow who gave them quite a bit as far as character on this club, but they felt they needed that outside shooting, and Simpson, since he's joined this club, just has not come through with it.
He came in overweight. He's lost some of that weight, but they say he lost so much confidence. It's being on the bench so much for Detroit. But now he makes it a 24-16 lead. Houston with the advantage. Lucas with Simpson on him. John Lucas. Rebound. David Thompson. Wilkerson having a tough time controlling it. They'll reset it.
I'm surprised that pass even got up to Wilkerson.
Here's Thompson. Reid on him. Tough assignment. Nice pass. Blocked by Jones. Ellis. Ellis makes it 24-18 as the first period has come to a close here at the McNichols Sports Arena in Denver. Welcome back to Denver, Gary Bender and John McLaughlin. While you're away, Bobby Jones picked up a personal foul. It's still a 6-point lead for the Houston Rockets as we start the second period. Zaid Abdul-Aziz is now coming to the game for the Houston Rockets. Shot missed by Dwight Jones. Breakaway to Wilkerson. And that's been a story of them in this first part of the game, John. They've been missing some easy shots.
Well, Bobby Wilkerson is only shooting 23% from versus the Rockets on the entire year, and that layup miss didn't help him at all.
Steal attempt by Bobby Jones, who picked up his first foul a while ago. That's partially blocked. Abdul-Aziz, who you played with in Milwaukee before he went out to the West Coast. He was with Boston earlier this year.
That's right. He has the ability to play a little forward and quite a bit of center.
Look at that score. Sixers leading San Antonio by 1. What a shootout that's going to be before it's over. Both of those teams have won their division title. Inside a foul, and that's on Aziz, and he's picked up 2 quick ones.
Well, obviously his timing really isn't that sharp right now. He hasn't played that much this season, and he doesn't really know exactly what they want to do in Houston defensively or offensively. You see Darnell Hillman going baseline, getting inside, applying the pressure to the defensive player and drawing the foul.
You know, I'm amazed by last night. Calvin Murphy led this team, the Houston Rockets, to a win over Philadelphia. He had 35 points. That shows you what you never know what's going to happen in the NBA, you know?
Here's a big score in Milwaukee. The Bucks must win to stay in front of the Golden State Warriors, who's hanging back by 1 game, and Milwaukee only 1 game behind LA. It's very interesting.
And Golden State has a more favorable schedule from here on. A 4-point lead now for Houston, who led by as many as 10. Here's Ratleef, who's now playing a guard. Broken up of Denver. Denver now getting a little more aggressive on defense.
Well, they apparently knew that they had to pick it up a little bit. They started out in the first few moments of the game, and they were just very lackadaisical defensively, laying back too much. Now they're trying to come out and apply the pressure.
Calvin Murphy having a tough time shaking loose. He got a couple of baskets early, and since then he's been shut down. Jones, open up. Here comes Thompson. Simpson. Left-handed hook.
Looks like Simpson that time passed up an easier shot to take a much more difficult shot, little left-handed hook inside.
4 points in the game now for Simpson, and all of a sudden, Houston's lead has been cut to 2. John Lucas getting ready to come back into the Houston lineup. Here's Robert Reid into Abdul Aziz. Broken up, Ratleef, and he walked with the ball. And Ratleef traveled, and now Larry Brown saying, hey, let's settle this thing down a little bit, as Alonzo Bradley and John Lucas check into the Houston lineup, replacing Dwight Jones and also Ed Ratleef.
Well, the Rockets are not really doing what they would like offensively. I don't think they're going to Murphy quite enough. The big guy's getting the ball outside, turning it over, not looking inside for the pin downs for the little guy.
Here's Darnell Hillman. Not real sure what he wanted to do with that ball. 13 seconds on the shot clock. Simpson. Rebound. Wilkerson. Boy, nothing's coming easy for Denver. And Bradley has picked up a foul.
Well, the important thing for Denver, they're staying on the offensive board. If you get enough opportunities at the basket, you should eventually put it in or at least draw the foul. Now here you'll see the ball go up by Simpson, but you'll see the rebound. Wilkerson shoots the ball a little too quickly, and that's why he misses as many times as he does. He doesn't take his time when he puts it back up.
That was the third foul against the Houston Rockets in the second period. 24-22, Houston by 2. One of the real classics in television coverage, the Masters, live coverage from the Augusta National Golf Club. Next Saturday and Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, the 23rd year of exclusive live coverage by CBS. Boy, Tom Watson and Jack Nicklaus will be back. They'll be ready to battle down the stretch again. We have a 2-point game here. Houston on top by 2. They led by as many as 12 in the first period, and that's going to be Houston's basketball. Simpson can't handle it. Check score there. Indiana over Boston. Hey, I correct myself. I thought that was an 8. It's a 0. So Boston is leading by 1. 31-30. Here's Reid, picked up by Bobby Jones. Denver climbing back into this game after a slow start. Murphy not getting it to go. Zayd Abdul Aziz brings it outside. Now Lucas will quarterback the 2. Bradley playing with 3 personal fouls. Kevin Kunnert has 3 fouls for the Houston Rockets. Bradley inside, and he's fouled as he ducked in there. Alonzo Bradley, not a bad-looking basketball player.
He's a good player. He's a pretty good one-on-one player, and right now the Rockets' offense, they're trying to go to some pick-and-roll situations, go to a pin-downs for Murphy. When it breaks down, they're going to a lot of one-on-one situations at the top of the circle, and that's how Bradley got to the free throw line.
That foul was on Thompson, his first. There's Dan Issel, who checks back into the lineup. You mentioned to me about Issel. He just takes a lot of room out there when he goes out to play.
He really does. He's a very aggressive offensive player in particular, and defensively also. But against this club, he should really score a lot of points. He should get inside and muscle his way in. He can go outside and in. As you see, the Nets Atlanta score.
Boy, is Hubie Brown doing a job in Atlanta, huh?
An Atlanta team. It's like a buzzsaw when you run into them sometimes.
They're trying to get into those playoffs. Cleveland made it. And now Atlanta trying to get that 6th and final spot in the Eastern Conference.
Well, they're in pretty good position right now.
26-22, up by 4, Houston. That'll be off of Houston. And Denver will bring it in.
It appears that Denver trying to do a lot of posting up today, and they don't do that much. They seem just a little hesitant on their offense.
Here's Thompson. David Thompson. Who said he could become the leading scorer in the NBA before the day is over. He now has 6 points.
He's also surpassed his assist mark this year, giving the ball up quite a bit also, as well as shooting.
He only needs 15 points to go over 2,000 points for the season. Bradley can't get it to go. Look at that hustle by Reid, would you? Abdul Aziz.
Well, that's a 8-foot shot that went 12.
Kind of embarrassing. There's Issel.
Now, that's something the Nuggets can do as good as any team in professional basketball. Not only run the break, but run it with Dan Issel. Dan Issel, for a big guy, gets in the break very nicely. And there he just kind of picked his way through and laid the ball in.
So we have a tie game with 8:22 to go in this first half of play. Murphy trying to shake loose. Just can't do it. Here comes Thompson, 2-on-1. He's fouled by Lucas, and Lucas is hurt. John Lucas looks like his leg there.
Calvin Murphy,
all right.
A little upset with that particular call right there. Also, they came off of a double screen. The steal came by the Nuggets, and here they come, trying to get their running game going. And David Thompson, he does have some jumping ability. That time going out as well as up.
Dwight Jones will come in for Abdul Aziz, who missed that shot a moment ago. And now with a chance to take the lead, the Nuggets. David Thompson. So they come back in this game after trailing by 12 points in the first period of play. 7 points for David Thompson, give him 8. 28-26. Again, Denver can clinch a playoff spot should they win this game today. Bradley to Robert Reid. Boy, that's a tough shot. Jones brings it down. Wilkerson to Thompson. They're running it now. Bobby Wilkerson, they let him have the shot. Little pushing and shoving in there, and I think it's against Dan Issel. That's right, Issel picking up the foul.
Taking up that room that you talked about earlier. Bobby Jones doing a nice job of coming in and trying to go to the offensive board. You'll see him come right down the lane. Bobby Wilkerson open, and he misses very badly right here. Bobby Jones coming in and trying to get the hand on it, but the foul was called on Issel.
28-26. Houston trying to knot it up now. At halftime, Jimmy the Greek will talk about baseball. Will it come to Denver or not? That's goaltending against Thompson.
The little guy getting in there in the land of the Giants, putting the ball up, getting the goaltend. They're trying to key on him quite a bit. Thompson coming from the top, down to give help, but it was a little late.
He's really had to work, hasn't he, John, for everything he's gotten. He's got 8 points thus far.
Denver doing a good job on Calvin so far in the game.
Thompson taking it inside. Bobby Jones. Thompson again. What effort. It's going to count, and he's been fouled.
Well, I think the Nuggets in general are very good at an interior passing team. I realize they've had problems the last few weeks. They're turning the ball over. They're not playing that well. But that was a typical play right there of Jones getting the rebound and making a nice interior pass to David Thompson, and then Thompson putting in a difficult shot.
The penalty now in. That's the second foul on Reid as Robert Smith now conferring with Larry Brown. David Thompson, he's starting to put it together for this team. He has 11 points. 31-28. Thus far in this second period, Houston scored only 4 points. Alvin Murphy, he's got 2 of them. Out to Lucas. Boy, they're pressuring him outside now. No open shots. That's a foul on John Lucas.
Well, that was nice defensive play by Bobby Wilkerson. It's not easy to stay in front of John Lucas. And going into the game today, Larry Brown felt that they've done a good job of preventing his penetration.
That's Ed Ratleef, number 42, checking in, and we've got a delay in the action here with 7:03 to go before halftime. At halftime, Freaks Grapevine, some horse, and more of the first half in just a moment. We come back to McNichol Sports Arena, and a foul is spotted inside. The Houston Rockets now having that lead diminished and taken away from them. They led by 12, now they trail by 3. And picking up the foul is Ed Ratleef. That is his first personal foul. 6:45 to go, second period.
Houston would certainly like to win this game, Gary. They've never beaten the Nuggets, and it's the only club they haven't beaten. And the last time they were in here, they only went, the Rockets only went to the free throw line 4 times, while the Nuggets went 34 times. That's amazing. And yet only lost 105-100.
Both games, 2 previous games this year were very close. But you got to remember one thing. Houston had Moses Malone in the lineup at that time.
And that is a big difference. Since Moses Malone has gone out of the lineup, Houston's average rebounds as a team has gone something like from 49 to 44. So that shows you his value in only one department.
Biggest lead of the game now for Denver, 33-28. Murphy outside. He just can't get it to go for him. Good hustle by him, and he gets his favorite shot through.
You know, I can't imagine trying to shoot from where he has to shoot from. You can't. I don't see how he sees the basket half the time.
There's a foul. Issel trying to get the drop. Dwight Jones picking up the personal foul. Issel getting down the floor in a hurry.
Issel will do that. He'll go out to try to block a shot and take off and go on down the court. Many clubs will do this. Not too many centers will do it, but Issel's one of the better players at doing it. Houston must be more aware at this point in the game of converting from offense to defense, because the Nuggets are aware of trying to get the break going and coming out.
Dan Issel coming into this game is 19th in the NBA in scoring, a 21.2 average. He had 31 points Friday. He has 3 points, and surprisingly low figure in the early going of this game. 4-point lead now for Denver.
Dan Issel's ranked 18th in the league in scoring with a 21.2 average.
So we have the penalty in. Hey, how many pairs of socks? 7 pairs anyway?
Actually, when he takes his shoes and socks off, especially his socks, he wears about 8 or 10 pairs of socks. He loses 3 inches.
But then he wears 7 pairs of socks?
Yes, he does.
Calvin Murphy. Well, if you're 5'9", you want maybe a little advantage there.
He has to get here 10 minutes early just to get his socks on.
Speaking of that, he comes out here and works out. He comes in his playing clothes.
That's right. Comes out early, spends a lot of time shooting, never gets tired.
Reid from the corner. Ratleef. Looks like he could have gone back up with that one. 35-30. Here's Dwight Jones. Jones against Issel. David Thompson. Thompson playing more guard now that they start Anthony Roberts at forward. Issel is fouled by Jones again.
Well, very nice pass by Bobby Wilkerson to set up Issel. Issel inside, posted up very nicely. Wilkerson sees it, flips it behind his back. Now this is where Issel is so very tough. He's not overly quick, but boy, when he gets the ball in deep like that, he always gets something out of it.
That's Kevin Kunnert, number 44. He comes in. Now Kunnert, Bradley, and Jones each have 3 fouls for the Houston Rockets. And that is Bo Ellis, number 31, coming in. Must remember, Houston's bench is already depleted by injuries, and they're in foul trouble here this afternoon. Issel with 5 points. A 6-point lead for the Denver Nuggets. Denver, by the way, lost 32 games last year, and that's where they are right now. They'd like to finish up with the same record as a year ago. Murphy. Calvin might be a little tired. He's had to work for everything.
Well, he certainly has. I think the Nuggets doing a nice job defensively on him. They're keying. They know that he likes to go down low and come off double and single screens. They're trying to have the guard stay, but if the guard cannot stay on him and gets caught on the screen, they will switch out and try to double him up.
Bo Ellis out to Smith, and that was intended for Ellis. Houston will get it. C.J. Cooper now coming in. Former Los Angeles Laker. There he is, out of the University of Michigan. And Reid will leave the lineup. 7-point lead now for Denver. Ratleef with Thompson on him. There's Kupek, a fine outside shooter. Murphy. And he's getting the shots, they're not going for him.
And then he goes after the ball and commits the foul. Now that was a very simple play where Murphy goes down low, the forward comes down to set a single screen. Murphy comes off to shoot the shot normally, and many times, the majority of the time, the little guy can put that ball in. But going after it, you see him hit Issel, commit the backcourt foul, and that hurts.
That's Ralph Simpson, number 10 coming in. Anthony Roberts also checking in. Dave Thompson will get a breather.
Now actually, the Nuggets haven't taken advantage of John Lucas, who has to give up a lot of height to whoever he guards out here, because Murphy going against Smith, who is the only small guy on the court right now for the Nuggets. Therefore, I would expect the Nuggets to be more aware of going at John Lucas and taking advantage of him down low in a post-up situation.
Our statistician Rick Lambert points out in this period, Denver has outscored Houston 21-6. So that's been the big story here in the second period. Foul coming up. That'll be Anthony Roberts picking it up. And going to the line will be Ed Ratleef. 5:01 to go here. 39-30. Let's check now on a very big game between Philadelphia and San Antonio in San Antonio.
Now, those of you who are watching Denver and Houston, this is an injury timeout for Philadelphia's Lloyd Free. Coach Billy Cunningham is talking to George McGinnis. We've got 4:16 to go in the first half. It's a good one. Tied at 51. Sellout crowd on hand in the hemisphere to watch the two teams in the Eastern Conference who are sporting the best record. But should they meet for the championship of the East, Philadelphia would possess the odd game home court advantage on the strength right now of 53-23. The 76ers have lost their last 2 games, a heartbreaker in overtime to Atlanta. Then they fell last night to Houston, so they could have come in here a bit tired. The final last night was 116-112. The Spurs, meanwhile, came home and were welcomed by 2,000 fans at the airport yesterday. They wrapped up the Central Division title, one of the Cinderella stories around the NBA. Washington and Cleveland appeared to have the Central Division in hand, but along came the Spurs. And here is Lloyd Free. He's all right at the line, shooting for the lead for Cunningham 76ers. They've got it by a point. Mike Gale, George Gervin. Gervin to wrap up an NBA scoring title. Keenan goes back to Fultz. Daryl Dawkins takes in. Here's Mike Gale. On the switch, Doc is there. Lob inside. Fultz with good control. Keenan was swooping underneath. Gale to the hole. Off comes Doc. And again, some careless passing, Keith.
Very careless. Daryl Dawkins does that all the time. That little underhand pass. It's very easy to lose a pass like that. He's got to make sure on that they had a 3-on-1 fast break, an automatic 2 points.
Milwaukee leading Detroit 53-50. 5 minutes to go in the second quarter of that game. Now it goes back, and there's Dr. J. Julia serving to take it out. 3:45 to go. First half in San Antone. 52-51. Billy Cunningham leads Doug Moe. Dawkins. 3:26, and it's 54-51. 76ers leading the Spurs. Almost stolen.
Welcome back to Denver along with John McLaughlin. This is Gary Bender. We have a timeout with 4 minutes to go in this first half. Denver has bumped it up to a 43-32 lead. Hi there, young man. One of the fans here at the McNichols Arena. You know, John, a real startling statistic here in the second period, the shooting of Houston.
Not good at all, only 15%, and it completely reversed from the earlier part of the game when the Nuggets did not shoot the ball that well, but the Nuggets now picked it up a little bit and shooting quite a bit better, but mainly because of the defense of the Nuggets. They're forcing Houston into tough shots, and therefore they're going to the other end and getting better ones. And there you see Calvin Murphy trying to increase that percentage a little bit.
He has not had a good first half. He's had to work for everything. He has 12 points. You saw that score a moment ago. The Knicks up by 3 on the Bullets. 3:42 to go. First half. Dan Issel against Kunnert. And C.J. Kupak brings it down. This is Mike Dunleavy, a former Philadelphia 76er. He was picked up as a free agent on March 31st. Ed Ratleef, his shooting is off today. 43-34 Denver. Here comes Simpson. Simpson has picked up the offensive output. He has 8 points in this game, hitting one from outside and hustling inside for another.
His previous high for the Nuggets, only 12.
And Anthony Roberts, the young rookie from Oral Roberts, follows with the shot. See big Dan Issel on that last play. That reminds us to remind you at halftime, he'll be on the horse against Ron Boone on our halftime.
Here you see a basic pick and roll. Issel overlaying, but Roberts right there to get the easy 2.
Foul on Bo Ellis. Also at halftime, we'll be checking in with Jimmy the Greek. A couple of subjects he's going to be involved in is baseball. Is it going to come to Denver or not? And also about that outstanding Texas running back Earl Campbell.
I know the Denver people are very excited about that. They would love to see a baseball team here. It's quite a sports town.
And immediately following our telecast here from Denver, we'll go live to Long Beach for the U.S. Grand Prix. This is Kupak. This guy was acquired on waivers from Los Angeles, the number 4 pick for L.A. in '75. He's had a lot of injury problems, but has been a fine outside shooter for a big guy. That's been a tight one all the way.
That's right, halftime, 63-63. Now, it's important that the Houston Rockets not allow the Nuggets to open up the lead anymore, and more importantly, that the Rockets close the lead a little bit going into halftime.
Robert Smith in the game, off to Bo Ellis. Kupak is on him. Here's Anthony Roberts, a surprising rookie. Dan Issel. Issel starting to get some points, and he's been fouled. If that's on Kunnert, that's his 4th. Let's see.
That's a situation where I think that the Houston Rockets should be aware of keying on Issel just a little bit more and giving help on Kunnert. Now, you see Kunnert shade to the baseline a little. The Houston Rockets, Kupak coming over from weak side to try to give help, but he gets called for the foul because he was not there in time to establish position.
They're actually going to call that foul on Kunnert, and that's his 4th. That's Zaid Abdulaziz is checked back into the lineup. At the line, Dan Issel.
Obviously, what they're trying to do in that situation, Kunnert is trying to shade to the baseline and get weak side help. That's why he got caught with the foul from behind, but the Houston Rockets really cannot afford that. With him in foul trouble, that does hurt.
They also have Bradley with 3 fouls in this game. Also, Jones has 3 fouls. So they're in some foul difficulty. Mike Dunleavy off to Ratleef. Out to C.J. Kupak. Houston now trying to run their offense. Dunleavy. Here comes Anthony Roberts. Smith at 5'11". Boy, they ran the ball Nevada, Las Vegas, so he's comfortable with that kind of situation.
He knows how to do that, right?
But Dunleavy will settle it down now. 2:18 to go before a half. Kupak, Abdulaziz, can't get one to go, and I'll tell you, Smith really hit the floor. Simpson, over Dunleavy, no whistle. Roberts. Simpson again. Who's got it? Simpson. What a play.
Simpson, he's had 3 offensive rebounds. He scored on 2 of them, and that one ended up coming back to him, and he got another basket.
You know, one thing about Simpson, he's trying to hustle his game back, isn't he?
Well, I think that's a great thing about basketball. When things are going tough, when your shot isn't going down or you're having some difficulty, you can always continue to hustle and put out, and maybe it'll come back to you.
Zaid Abdul-Aziz complaining about something as now Darnell comes back into the lineup. Dan Issel will check out. This Denver team has a tough road to hoe. They're going to be on the road for a lot of basketball after today. Calvin Murphy, that's the shot he just loves to shoot.
That's called an in-your-face shot for sure. It's so quick you don't know if he's going to go by you or not, but still, if I were playing against him, I would rather have him drive than take that jump shot.
Bo Ellis, Kupek on him. Out it comes to Simpson. Denver keeping the ball alive. Little sloppy though. Up to Smith. Here comes Dunleavy. And he is fouled by Bo Ellis.
Well, I think he's lucky he got fouled because he got caught up in the air and too many Nuggets around him. He had to throw the ball off, and he threw it to a Nugget rather than to the Rockets. He's trying to advance the ball. And again, Tom Masaki doesn't really want this, but you can see the pressure there, and he passed the ball over to Smith. That's the wrong fellow.
That foul, the third foul on Bo Ellis, and he checks out. David Thompson comes in, Bob Wilkerson comes in, Simpson and Roberts check out. You know, Issel, who just checked out a while ago, had all 10 points in the second period, and 8 of them came on free throws, really getting inside.
Well, the Rockets have to be concerned with that getting inside. The Nuggets getting too many offensive rebounds, and they're scoring on those. You can't afford that. Once they put the ball up, if they do miss, you don't want them to get it back.
Look at the Sixers, would you? They were upset last night by the same Houston team, but they're leading this afternoon. Boy, what a running game that could be.
They must need 3 or 4 basketballs on that one.
49-49 point lead now for Denver, who trailed by 12 in the first period. Bobby Jones back in. He's fouled by Kupek. Now, wait a minute. It's going to be against Wilkerson, away from the ball, pushing off. That's his second personal foul. There's your time on the lower right-hand portion of your screen. Remaining in this first half. At halftime, Horst, Jimmy the Greek, stay with us. Here's Ed Ratleef. Dunleavy. Dunleavy just couldn't find a place to play on that talent-laden Philadelphia team, and he's got 2.
Well, Dunleavy, in that situation, he had a couple of players inside, and he just said, hey, I'm taking this one. We're going to go one-on-one. That was a tough shot for the little guy.
He has 4 points. There's the doctor of dunk. Look at him hide that ball away from Abdul-Aziz.
I don't know if that was a hide or just a lose. I lost it.
We'll give him credit.
I found it, and I missed it.
Now you see the time remaining. They're going to milk it now for the last shot of this first half of play.
I wonder who will take it. Guess who?
Calvin Murphy. Smith trying to draw the foul. Can't get it to go. Murphy not shooting well percentage-wise. It's going to be Denver's basketball. Coming in now is going to be Ralph Simpson again. Wilkerson will check out.
You know, Murphy's situation, not shooting well percentage-wise, as you mentioned, there's a lot of pressure on him. When you know that you have to put the ball up a lot of times for your club to win, many of those shots will not be good percentage shots. Therefore, it's hard to shoot a good percentage.
He's been shooting 49% from the field for the year. Here comes Anthony Roberts. There's your time. And Roberts gets it underway, and that's going to end our first half of play. 49-42. Denver leads the Houston Rockets at halftime. Stay tuned now for Horst as Ron Boone goes against Issel. Along with John McLaughlin, this is Gary Bender. We're ready to go now, second half of a very important game for the Denver Nuggets. Should they hang on here to the 7-point lead and win, they will clinch a playoff berth.
Very important for them, but Houston, they feel it's very important. They want to beat Denver for the first time, and one area the Houston Rockets must be concerned with would be their offensive rebounding by the Denver Nuggets. They had 12 offensive rebounds, and many of those they scored on.
Houston had a 12-point lead after the first period, and then they lost that lead and now trail by 7 at halftime. We start the second half. Bobby Wilkerson, David Thompson, Bobby Jones, Ralph Simpson starting. That's Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones now with 6 points in the game. Calvin Murphy, Lucas, Alonzo Bradley, Kevin Kunnert, and Robert Reid. The 5 that opened the game start the second half for the Houston Rockets. Here's Reid. Into Kunnert playing with 4 personal fouls and that left-handed hook.
The big guy got the ball in deep. Houston executing their offense a little better that time, but still they must be aware and concerned about getting back on defense.
There's that tremendous play of Bobby Jones. Boy, he'll do that all afternoon long if you let him. 8 points for Jones.
It's the same thing about the Houston defense. They're not getting back and set up early enough. They're trying to key on the ball too much and not being aware of the people coming down the break or even getting out in the lead lanes on the break.
I think it's significant that Ralph Simpson started the second half. Maybe Bobby, or rather Larry Brown, feels he's found somebody that can play that fifth hand that they've been looking for. That's been a problem for them, is finding that fifth starter.
You know, actually, Simpson played a good first half. He's been struggling somewhat, but still, I don't think he was sharp. A number of those points did come on some fine offensive rebounds, but a couple of them, I think he was lucky to be at the right place at the right time as you get a traveling violation by David Thompson.
David Thompson committing that turnover. 53-46. Houston trying to win their second in a row after a surprising win last night against Philadelphia in the Summit. Milwaukee, Detroit, look at that one, would you? Boy, that would really be devastating should Milwaukee lose that one.
That will certainly hurt the Bucks. That will tie Golden State of Milwaukee if they do lose this particular game at Detroit.
Golden State, again, with the best schedule from here on out.
Nice play by Bobby Wilkerson there, flipping it back into Dan Issel. Issel's establishing position down low. The Nuggets getting him the ball, and therefore the Rockets must overplay that and prevent him from receiving it in that close.
12 points for Dan Issel, who started slowly, didn't even score in the first period. Kunnert again with the hook. Wilkerson. Boy, Wilkerson can start that break and end it. At 6'7", he gives this Denver team great versatility. Issel again.
Wilkerson can also rebound. He had 6 rebounds in the first half, so he goes to the boards for a guard.
Number 30, Alonzo, Ratleef.
Here you'll see the previous Issel basket. You see Bobby Jones flip it over to Bobby Wilkerson. He flips it over his back into Dan Issel. When he gets the ball in that deep, he's very difficult to stop, as you can see there.
The Denver Nuggets starting to get a little breathing room. They led by 7 at halftime. They trailed early in the ball game. I don't think Larry Brown's all that pleased with their play, but they can still get into the playoffs with a win today.
And neither club shooting very well. Right now, at halftime that is, Houston only 34%, while the Denver Nuggets picking it up to 31.
Look at this. Denver, here in the second half, has taken 4 shots, and they've hit all 4 from the field. You can't do much better than that. Jones, a couple of layups.
They're continuing from that second quarter when they outscored Houston 31 to 18 to take that commanding lead.
Crowd of 15,500 plus. The leading team in the NBA, attendance-wise, the Denver Nuggets. And they love their team here. David Thompson. Simpson. Wilkerson. Off to Issel, and that's going to be off of Houston. Now there's the case. What can Murphy do against Wilkerson on a baseline situation like that?
Well, Bobby Wilkerson once again making a very nice play. He's a fine passer. That's probably the strongest part of his game. Calvin Murphy pushing Wilkerson baseline, getting a little help from the weak side, but Wilkerson putting it back out to Issel, who draws the foul.
And going the line is Dan Issel. There's assistant coach Dale Harris along with Tom Nissalke. Tom really suffering this year. You got to give him credit, though. They've been hanging in there with all those injuries.
Hanging in, and I'm sure at halftime they made some adjustments, and not only offensively but defensively, talking about trying to come out and apply a little bit more pressure, taking away the passing lane. They do not want Denver to reverse the ball. Once they push them to the side, they do not want them to allow the ball back to the top, although they haven't been doing a good job of it.
16 points for Issel. Alonzo Bradley. Boy, he hit that one from a long ways out. Bradley with a nice touch, and now he has 8 points.
It's like he's been watching Calvin Murphy shoot a few times.
Here's Thompson moving inside. A passing game, and that is going to be off of Wilkerson. It'll be Houston's basketball. You know, Houston was a surprise team of the NBA last year. They won the Central Division. Boy, what a difference a year can make, huh?
It sure can. Well, you know, any team that wins a world championship has to go through the season with very few injuries, possibly none. Calvin Murphy doing it again baseline. He loves the baseline.
16 points for Calvin Murphy. Murphy has been talking to both Jim Capers and Hugh Evans throughout this game, saying, hey, give me a break, will you? They've been hanging through it. Yeah, that's right.
Well, they were 12 for 12 at half. That's perfect, but not enough time.
What a play by David Thompson. And look at Tom Nissalke
went right out on the court.
He's gotten the
Dale Harris upset. Robert Reid got hurt on that play. They felt that David Thompson went over 2 players, in particular Reid, and knocked him to the court. We'll get a chance to look at it. You'll see Jones pass the ball back out. Now the shot goes up by Simpson. Now watch David Thompson coming through the lane there. Look how high he is. My land. Robert Reid coming down. I wouldn't have made that call either.
Oh, that is what David Thompson's all about. 6'3", but he's got the arms that makes him about 6'7". And you know how he can jump.
You know, if you've got jumping ability like that, you can always get a good shot. That's why I never had a good shot.
You didn't get up quite that high, right?
No, not quite. I could jump over a dime.
Let's look at it again, John.
Now watch David Thompson coming from the far side of your screen. Now watch him come right through. No one blocks him off. Now watch how high he gets. His elbow is above the rim, and look how much higher he is than everyone else. Of course, he had a running start to do it.
And Calvin Murphy, while we were in that replay, hits from the side. He has 18 points, and Calvin now starting to find the range. 61-52.
Well, if he finds the range, Denver could be in trouble. He can put 50, 60 points up there.
Thompson inside. That'll be off of Houston. The Nuggets will set it again.
Nice drive by Thompson, but I think Houston allowing the Nuggets to get inside a little too easy by penetration right down the lane area.
Thompson brings it into Issel. Simpson. Simpson seen a lot of playing time. Bobby Jones. That basket will count, and he's been fouled. That foul is going to go on Kunnert. That's 10 points now for Bobby Jones.
Now that's a smart club that finds a mismatch. Calvin Murphy got caught on Jones. The Nuggets trying to set it up very nicely, as you see here, and they potentially get a three-point play out of it.
That was not a foul on Kunnert. It was on Lucas. We stand corrected, and that's his fourth foul.
Well, that's a break for Houston. Kunnert cannot afford another foul.
64-52, you see the score. Denver now a little over a period and a half away from clinching a playoff spot if they can hang on to this lead. Calvin Murphy, and he was fouled. He's got such a funny shot, doesn't he?
Well, he kind of flips the ball up. He does everything in jerky motions, and Calvin also has the complete act together. You'll notice here, he'll put the ball up. Now, the fans here thought that he traveled on that, but watch, he'll put the ball up, and he goes right to the floor to draw that three-point play, or a potential three, although the ball didn't go in. He can get two the way he shoots free throws.
First team foul now on Denver. That's the third foul, however, on Bobby Wilkerson. Calvin Murphy now starting to mount the points. He has 20. 10-point lead.
He and Rick Barry, two great free throw shooters in contrasting styles. It's rather interesting.
He's only hitting 91% from the line. That's not too shabby. Thompson going to put one up. Looks like he could do that all day.
Well, he certainly has a strong outside game. He's good inside. David Thompson, one of those players that can do it all. But he's back to the basket, face the basket, everything.
That basket, by the way, put him over 2,000 points again for the season.
That's amazing.
That's the third straight year for DT, as they call him here in Denver. Simpson having a little trouble. Wilkerson.
A lot of speculation about him also, possibly going to New York. Another nice pass.
Issel. That's what Denver will do. They'll get those multiple shots.
But again, Houston really not playing sound basketball. In that once the ball goes up, they're not blocking out, and they're not aware of the Denver Nuggets going to the offensive board. The Nuggets, on the other hand, concentrating on it quite a bit.
I don't want to belabor this point. Wouldn't Moses Malone like to be in there in that situation?
Well, he was a great offensive rebounder, the best in professional basketball.
It's now a 10-point lead again for Denver. Simpson off of Denver, or check it. That'll be Houston. The Nuggets with the basketball. And Ed Ratleef will check in. But right now, Denver has called a timeout. 6:36 to go in this third period of play. This reminder, immediately following the conclusion of this telecast, the U.S. Grand Prix from Long Beach. A week from today, the regular season comes to a close, and we'll be there. NBA regional games coming up next Sunday at 1:45 Eastern Time. Let's check on a real fine game in San Antonio between the 76ers and Spurs.
Welcome those of you who are watching Houston-Denver. That score was incorrect. They have just taken a basket away from the Spurs. So instead of 77-75, it is 77-73. Philadelphia with the lead and the basketball. McGinnis. He's played extremely tough against San Antonio this afternoon.
I watched Mark Olberding on that play, Brent. McGinnis went away from the ball, and Olberding stayed with the ball that time. He can't get the chance to finish the ball.
Keenan backing in to the doctor, Julius Erving. He is assessed for personal.
All right, now watch Keenan back into the doctor on this play. Julius had good position. His legs were spread on that play. Good call by the official.
A 6-point difference in the hemisphere in San Antonio. Olberding gambled and missed, and McGinnis took it in on the penetration. Now the Spurs come out after the miss. Here's Keenan. He can glide. 79-75, 5-17. Mr. K doing it that time. 10 points for Larry.
That shows you how wild these guys are, Brent. That was a terrible fast break, but the ball went in the hole, and that's all that counts.
McGinnis rolls up a miss on the other side. Jones trying to come up. Offensive foul against Caldwell.
Here's the fast break by Larry Keenan, taking the ball, gliding between two players, throwing it up hard off the backboard. Beautiful touch, though, right in.
4 fouls against Caldwell Jones. Billy Fultz, number 5, checks in for San Antonio. Mike Green over to the side. Gale Gervin. Fultz, Dietrich, and Keenan on the floor for the Spurs. Down away from the ball they go. Offensive foul is the call. So, with 4 minutes and 54 seconds to go in the third, Philadelphia leads San Antonio 79-75.
We've seen a wild affair here in the last minute of play. Houston scored twice, then Denver came back. Jones answering here, and John McLaughlin, a steal by Simpson.
Nice play by Bobby Jones going to the basket, but Simpson gets the ball right back because Houston a little too careless with the inbound pass.
Well, the Denver Nuggets with a 12-point lead, and Denver trying to get in the playoffs with a win today, and our coverage of the exciting NBA playoffs began on Friday, April 14th, 11:30 Eastern Time. Still a lot to be decided who's going to be in there.
Yes, we really don't know who it will be. Milwaukee, Golden State very close. If Milwaukee loses today, they will be tied. Los Angeles only 1 game up on Milwaukee. It's still wide open. Denver, they're still fighting for a playoff berth right now.
Got a foul away from the ball. That'll be Anthony Roberts, number 21, picking up his second foul, and Houston will take it out of bounds. It looked like, John, that Houston was making a move. Then they got a little careless.
Houston was right there, but then they let up just a little. It was either that or Denver tightened up, and they knew that they were a little too close, so let's play the D and put some points on.
Murphy gets one. You know, Houston is only shooting a very, very poor percentage in this game, and now they're starting to pick it up a little bit. Maybe with that, we'll turn the corner for them. 10 points difference now. Hillman. And again, Houston clawing back into this one. John Lucas. Calvin Murphy, and watch him go now, will you? Well, that little guy can do it.
That's right. That's their best bet. Get the ball up quickly, go to the little guy and let him go one-on-one or take whatever he can get.
He's got 24 points now, 74-66. About the time you think the Rockets are counted out of this thing, they're right back in. We're inside 4 minutes now, third period. Dave Thompson. There's Kunnert, who had 8 rebounds in the first half. Lucas. Oh. Ratleef pulled that one off. I don't know how. And Murphy has hit 3 in a row.
Well, Lucas in that situation trying to go to Ratleef, figuring he's in a little closer, but I think I would have given the ball over to Murphy right away the way he could shoot.
26 points for the little guy. Inside Issel, boy, is he tough. Alonzo Bradley upset. He hit the deck, but no foul.
Bradley did a nice job of coming over to try to help out. Kunnert that time fronting Issel, making the pass go over him. The Rockets making a nice play out of it.
20 points for Issel, who did not score in the first period. 76-68. Kunnert, he likes that hook. Nice play.
He missed 2 easy ones and made the hard one. Here's the Issel play. Once again, you see Kunnert fronting a nice pass inside. Bradley comes over to help out. No charge.
Kevin Kunnert now with 10 points. 6-point game again. Houston making a move. Anthony Roberts, he walked with it. You know, Roberts started the last 6 games, and they're just desperate to get that position filled. Now, maybe it's between he and Simpson in the playoffs who will be that 5th starter.
Well, I'm sure it'll go game to game. As you look at Larry Brown, he's a little upset with that turnover. And I mentioned earlier in the telecast, that's something he's been trying to cut down on, turnovers.
6-point lead now. Calvin Murphy trying to cut it to 4. Can't. Oh. Thompson. That's Thompson hustling all the time. Smith back to Thompson. Issel with 20 points. That's what he can do. He can shoot from outside.
Well, he sure can. He goes outside, inside. He's a fine player. But once again, the Houston Rockets not keying on the defensive people, leaving someone like that wide open. Shouldn't happen.
8-point lead again now for Denver. 2:24 to go, third period. The U.S. Grand Prix immediately following the conclusion of this telecast from Long Beach. Darnell Hillman. Roberts. Good hustle by Issel. And Kurt brings it down, and we've got a loose ball foul. It's going to be Anthony Roberts picking up the personal. And now Bobby Jones, number 24, checks back in for Denver. Going now to be Issel. Third foul. Third team foul, I should say, against the Houston Rockets or Denver Nuggets. As now on the far side, Lucas will bring it in.
Both clubs with 3 team fouls. Houston offensively, they're getting the ball in deep to Kunnert, but he's just not able to put the shot in. He put 3 or 4 hooks inside.
Trying to cut it to 6. Alonzo Bradley. Boy, he shoots that ball high, doesn't he?
Puts it up there.
Bobby Jones. Smith seeing a lot of playing time guarding Calvin Murphy. Darnell Hillman. What a move. Hillman with 5 points. Boy, he's exciting. He doesn't do anything that isn't exciting. And boy,
they have a lot of players with tremendous jumping ability on that club.
There's Calvin Murphy, who won't miss too many of those.
The Rockets today, they run off a spurt, they'll score 3 or 4 baskets, and they'll come up and miss 3 or 4 baskets.
Tough shot by Smith, but he tries to come away with it. Right now, Denver really hustling. Simpson.
Once again, offensive rebounds, they get the ball back. Here you'll see Hillman's basket. Penetrates inside, go up and leans in a little under Kunnert and lays it in.
You know, to Simpson now. There's Tom Nissalke up, indicating the offensive set they're going to use. Simpson now with 14 points. A game like today can maybe get him over the hump.
Yes, obviously he needs something. He doesn't feel that confident. Once again, Bobby Jones comes out, intimidates the ball, deflects it, and makes the steal.
So after cutting it to 6, it's now a 12-point lead, and Denver throws it away.
Now, that was a situation there where actually Bobby Jones should have had his eye on the ball. That was really his mistake, and he just indicated to Smith, that was okay, that was my mistake. But by the same token, Smith shouldn't have given him the ball at that particular situation. Allow Bobby Jones to get down, get set up, call an offensive play, and run something.
New York Knicks by 2 over Washington. Both those teams now already have clinched a playoff berth. Mike Dunleavy, number 31, is checked into the game. Bradley having a tough time with Jones. Dunleavy. Kunnert trying to follow, and Hillman brings it down. 26 seconds remaining. You see it now on the screen. Bobby Jones. He hit the backboard or the upright. I guess he's all right, though. Boy, I tell you, Jones just continues to put the pressure on the inside.
Boy, he's hurt, too. Last night they said both knees, both elbows, his wrist, and he just now ran into the backstop.
And he's not in the best of health either.
No, he isn't.
He has really had a tough year, but what a gutty performer. They feel he might be the key to this team. When he gets 15 points a game, they win.
That's right. When he scores, they win. That's right.
So there's the end of our 3rd period of play. The Denver Nuggets leading by 14 points, 84-70. We'll be back with the 4th period in a moment. Welcome back to Denver. Gary Bender and John McLaughlin. While you're away, Calvin Murphy hit one from outside. Dwight Jones is able to convert from the free throw line, and they now trail by 10, 84-74, and trying to cut it to 8. That's going to be off of Denver. Every once in a while, John, you get the feeling Denver's going to blow this thing wide open, but here comes Houston back.
The Nuggets don't seem to sustain any type of real pressure on Houston. They seem to open up the lead a little bit and then let Houston up again for some air.
Calvin Murphy, by the way, after scoring that basket while you were away, has 28 points. He's right on target for another 30-point game. Anthony Roberts. Roberts with 6 points.
Here you see the ball go inside to Hillman. Roberts going baseline, and actually the Houston defense just not that good. They're not staying with their people. They're allowing people to go free, push the baseline, getting inside. As you see Smith come back up, and
that's a tough shot to hit. First 2 points for Smith. You know, as a guard playing in your days, we've got to pull up and have great body control to get that one to go.
That's not always an easy shot either. You see the Indiana-Boston score, they're keeping that one close, 91-93 Boston.
Dunleavy, we're inside 10 minutes to go now in this 4th period. Murphy missing, that was where he hit just a moment ago. Saved by Smith. Smith wants to play. Look at that, Atlanta, they're going to make the playoff yet.
They sure are.
And so now, again, after climbing back within 10, it's been bumped up to a 90-74 lead for Denver.
Philadelphia, 87.
Boy, that's a preview of the playoffs. Jones blocked by Jones. Jones on Jones that time. Abdul-Aziz blocked by Hillman.
Beautiful defense, that particular play by Hillman and Jones.
Simpson.
That's when you yelled dance to the ball. It didn't dance quite enough for Ralph. It didn't go down.
But you can see Simpson playing with a lot of confidence right now. He's wanting that ball. He wants to shoot it. As we mentioned earlier, he's been shooting under 30% from the field.
Well, you know, it's easy to be confident when you're ahead and your team feels fairly comfortable. It's when you're behind and you're right in there tight, that's when you have to come up big.
90-74. Darnell Hillman.
Little long.
Don't have to be very tall to get that rebound, do you? Broken up by Smith. He fouled Ariel Cox.
Smith is playing a very fine game, not only offensively. As you see this, he takes the ball away from Calvin just before that. Puts the ball up to Jones very quick. He gets a little push behind by another Jones and have a potential three-point play.
Well, that was Dwight Jones' fourth foul. You know, it'd be interesting to know how many layups in the course of a season Bobby Jones gets, wouldn't it?
Well, it certainly would, and that's why the great shooting percentage. And any player that has a high shooting percentage normally is not just a good shooter. In a lot of situations, he may not be a great shooter. Wilt Chamberlain, for years, led the league in field goal percentage. He wasn't a great shooter, but it was a great percentage shot, and that's a dunk.
You know, Jones in the second half has 13 points. He has 18 for the game. 93-74. Alonzo Bradley, Thompson on him. Houston now trying to get their offense working. Lucas outside. Lucas, an outstanding tennis player, and that left-handed shot. 8 points for him.
Well, his outside shot was somewhat suspect. He's been working on it quite a bit, and it's coming around very nicely.
And, of course, he would be so much better if he had a Rudy Tomjanovich to be passing to.
Another offensive rebound for Denver, and again, Houston just not being aware of keeping them off the offensive board.
Tom Lagarde has been slow recovering from that knee surgery. He suffered it his senior year at North Carolina. Steal attempt by Jones. What an effort.
Little overlay there. Bobby Jones once again playing the passing lanes very nicely and going after it. Here you see him going inside with the left hand, but watch Tommy Lagarde right there. Just puts the ball up.
Well, Bobby Jones is going to come out. Bo Ellis comes in, and the crowd is on their feet applauding.
Apparently they know they can win a playoff berth today also.
Bobby Jones, what an effort. He just plays himself into a puddle every time he comes into a game.
He and Dave Myers of Milwaukee remind me of one another. Not physically strong, but they give you 120 every game.
There's Dwight Jones following a missed Kunnert shot. 95-78. There he is. Bobby Jones, fourth-year man from North Carolina. David Thompson. Got a foul coming up against Houston. That's against Bradley, and that's 5 on him. Alonzo Bradley. Tom Nisolke feels that this young man and Robert Reid, they've helped themselves in this year's rookie season for both of them.
Well, they're very obviously getting a lot of playing time, and that's bringing them along, and a rookie couldn't ask for a lot more than that.
Milwaukee's gotten back on top, John.
Big game there. All these games are big anymore. All these clubs fighting. Every game's important. It could go right down to the last game of the season.
That's what it's all about. And a week from today, we'll wrap up the regular season of play with NBA regional coverage. And then the playoffs, starting April 14th. Dwight Jones.
Oh, man!
Lagarde comes away with a loose ball foul will be on Kevin Kunnert. And that'll be 5 on Kevin Kunnert. So both Kunnert has picked up 5, as has Jones. So we've got a delay in the action now with 6:58 to go. 95-78. The U.S. Grand Prix after this game. I don't know if this guy is checking his stock report or what the situation is, but Denver right now having things their way. Let's go now to San Antonio for the Sixers and Spurs game.
Welcome those of you who've been watching Denver and Houston. Here, Larry Keenan has just scored to give San Antonio back the lead. It has been changing hands rapidly here in the hemisphere. 7 minutes for the game. Julius Erving to come back. McGinnis is short and it goes out of bounds. It'll go to the Spurs. San Antonio trying to beat Philadelphia for the first time this year, and they've got a chance. Up by 1, 6:57. Mo yelling instructions. Erving back. Welcome those of you who have been watching Washington in the mix. Philadelphia with the basketball. And Lloyd Freed forcing down his whistle is called a foul against San Antonio. Spurs lead it 94-93. It is wild.
Keep a close watch on Mike Gale here. right at the top of Lloyd Freeh's jump. He had that ball blocked perfectly. Lloyd Freeh could not get it off. Had to force the shot there. Bill Saar underneath the basket on that play called the foul.
So here is Freeh. We have been seesawing in the fourth quarter. San Antonio 8 away at the lead of Philadelphia late in the third quarter. Then it was the former St. John's star, Billy Paultz, who moved his game back outside to finally give the Spurs the lead. McGinnis seized it back. Then it was the Spurs again. Now the Spurs are back as Philadelphia's resumed command. Louis Dampier outside for the Spurs. In and out. McGinnis couldn't hold on. Paultz yelling he was fouled. Underhand. Collins is open. San Antonio screaming there was a foul. 6:18 to go in the hemisphere. Philadelphia leads San Antonio 97-94. Green scores for the rebound.
That was
It's one.
tremendous follow by Mike Green. About a foot above the rim on that slam dunk.
6 minutes to go with the Knicks leading Washington 100-91. Gale checking free, and it's McGinnis. Back now to 3, and George McGinnis is playing with a lot of confidence, isn't he?
Big George is doing it all.
23 points. Green comes up. All try to keep it in play. Irving on the fly. Down the middle he comes. George McGinnis. 25 points. And it is McGinnis who has quieted San Antonio here in the hemisphere.
There's the doctor making a beautiful pass to George McGinnis. Wide open down the lane for a slam dunk.
101-96.
All right, welcome back to McNichol Sports Arena in Denver. While you were away, the Denver Nuggets have mounted a 20-point lead, 100-80. They've done it with very good balanced scoring. Kevin Kunnert trying to follow. He got it, and he fouled. Tom Lagarde, number 45, the number 1 draft pick out of North Carolina, committing the personal.
You see the ball go up by Donovan, getting into a lot of traffic there. The Houston Rockets trying to go to the offensive board, doing a pretty good job of it. Kunnert getting it back up and in, and that's something they must do. Along with getting back in this game, they're going to have to pressure a little bit more defensively and run the break. As you look at the Milwaukee-Detroit score, a big game for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Boy, I tell you, the Bucks have 2 at home and 2 away after today. They've got their work cut out for them, but they're 1 leg up today thus far.
You know, Gary, I think if Houston had their complete team and they did get behind like this, you would see them pressuring and trapping a lot more. Now they're just not able to go into trapping defenses that Tom Massalke normally would like to run.
Bo Ellis committing the personal foul, and that is his 4th. And they're in the penalty. You know, you look at Denver. Let's look ahead a little bit. They really have 4 games away, 1 at home after today. So if they could clinch at least a playoff, that would take a little of the pressure off of them as they go on the road.
Well, I think it's important for them to win this game, and I talked to Larry Brown about pressure. I said, well, what is the problem? Why aren't you getting that consistency? They feel the pressure? He says, no, they don't feel the pressure, which I don't really understand. Then why not the consistency, and why aren't they really playing the way he would like for them to play if they don't feel pressure?
Let me ask you something. Last year, Denver faded, too. They started out
well,
fast.
you know, they've had a history of that, and perhaps even though there are a lot of different players on this club now, perhaps that's something that they think about.
100-84 our score. Robert Smith picked up by Calvin Murphy. Bo Ellis. Lagarde getting some playing time. 4.5 minutes to go in this one. Ellis, the C.J. Kubek on him. And we've got a foul on Kubek. Zaid Abdul-Aziz checking in, the former Iowa State standout. Some people might remember him as Don Smith when he played with Milwaukee, went out to Seattle. Big, rugged rebounder. That's quite a trade the Bucks made that involved him.
Yes, it was. Don had perhaps his best years in Milwaukee, and outstanding rebounder. He could go to the offensive board, but in particular, he was a defensive rebounder.
This is Bobby Wilkerson coming in, and Ralph Simpson checks out. Simpson gets in a round of applause, and he has not heard that very often this year.
He hasn't probably at all. This is by far his best game since he's been back with the Denver Nuggets.
Boy, he'd like to get back into that niche where he averaged over 20 points 6 years.
He used to have great games every night here.
There's that Murphy spot. They better just give that to him after the game is over. He has 30 points, and that's right on his average, what he's averaged since the All-Star break.
And he has a spot like that on 22 courts.
The 5'9", he said, I'm the only normal-sized guy out here. Nice tip by Lagarde. Did you ever watch Calvin Murphy do that baton twirling act?
It's amazing. I think he could shoot the ball and twirl two batons at the same time. An amazing little guy.
Quite a gentleman, too. Tom Naselke has nothing but fine things to say about him. Look at that one. 32 points for number 23.
Well, your best hope is try to keep him away from the ball and keep the ball away from him, but that's not always easy because he is probably one of the 2 or 3 quickest guys in basketball.
He was 7th in the NBA in scoring coming in here, just under a 25-point average. Simpson, check that. Roberts missing. Kupak hits the deck. 3.5 minutes to go in this one. Again, the U.S. Grand Prix. Ken Squire standing by in Long Beach. Mario Andretti, Nicky Lotta. Live coverage after this game is over. Hey, Smith's probably glad to see Murphy come to town because he gets to play more. He's played a lot today. Wilkerson.
It's like bookends out there.
You know, Wilkerson, you didn't hear much about him in Indiana. He had so many big names alongside him, but boy, he's going to have quite a career in the NBA.
Jump center at Indiana. Isn't that amazing? Boy, he can really get up also. This Denver Nuggets team has so many guys that can go up in the air. It's ridiculous.
That's a blocking foul on Roberts, and we've got a timeout now with 2:57 left. 4th foul on Anthony Roberts. So the Denver Nuggets are just 2 minutes and 57 seconds away from clinching a playoff spot. That is Dan Issel's young daughter. She's happy. Her daddy scored 22 points today and is a candidate for our MVP.
She moves a lot better than he does, doesn't she?
Better footwork. Better looking too, right?
She doesn't run over people when she makes that move.
Okay, well, we're coming up with that MVP. I'd say I have 2 candidates right now, Jones and Issel.
Oh, really? I hadn't even thought about that.
I'm sure you haven't.
Let's throw it to Stinner. You want to do that?
Bob Stinner, our producer, is waiting to see if we can agree to disagree.
It is difficult. I agree. It's one of the 2, and I think I know who I'm going to go with. I'm going to keep it as a secret.
All right, you're going to put the pressure on.
That's right.
All right, Dunley makes it a 105-89 game. Well, Denver had to claw uphill in this one. They trailed by 12 in the first period, but it's been their ball game in the second half. Lagarde having a tough time with it. Zaid Abdul-Aziz. It's going to be off of who? It's going to be off of Denver. It'll be Houston basketball. Little indecision there.
Both teams in the penalty now. I don't know if it matters that much, but the score the way it is, the Rockets must continue to apply the pressure as much as possible.
We're going to keep you posted on the rest of the activity. A big game down there in San Antonio. We'll be switching a few minutes to go there to see how that one's developing. Dunleavy. Bo Ellis brings it on to Anthony Roberts. Inside, 2.5 minutes to go. Bobby Wilkerson off to Lagarde. Robert Smith. Well, this little guy had a lot of tenacity. 107-89 our score here.
Whoa!
107-89. The Denver Nuggets looking for victory number 45 on the year. 2:07 to go. Now let's check on that San Antonio-Philadelphia game being played down in the Lone Star State.
Welcome those of you who have been watching Denver and Houston. This is a dandy. Keenan for San Antonio, but traveling was called. San Antonio trails Philadelphia 107-105, 152 left. Billy Cunningham trying to make it a clean sweep over his buddy Doug Moe. Both came out of Brooklyn, both came out of North Carolina. McGinnis over to Collins, partially blocked. Keenan off. Spurs again shooting for the tie for Doug Moe. Timeout has called. Moe wants to set a play. Down by 1 field goal in 1:37, and immediately after this game, the U.S. Grand Prix West, Long Beach, California. Last year, Mario Andretti and Nicky Lotta dueled until Andretti won it by a second. 107-105, 76ers.
All right, there's our scores. We wind down now. You see the time remaining. 1:38. Alonzo Bradley at the line. This young rookie had some moments of impressing you here at McNichols Sports Arena. Ed Ratleef coming in for Calvin Murphy. So Calvin Murphy checks out with 32 points. There's Ratleef. The leading scorer as far as Denver is concerned, Issel with 22, Jones with 18, Simpson with 19, 17 for Thompson. Good balanced scoring for the Denver Nuggets. Foul on Bo Ellis. Ellis has picked up a bundle of fouls in this game. That's his fifth. John McLaughlin standing by, will be interviewing our MVP for today's game. Also, we will be talking hopefully to Calvin Murphy. As he's going in, blocked by Bobby Wilkerson. Houston will reset it. Houston with the next to worst record in the NBA, but you can understand why, because of the many, many injuries that they've had. Dunleavy. And Dunleavy makes it 107-94. Bobby Wilkerson. Ratleef on him. Tom Lagarde. Big husky guy. Ratleef comes away with it. We have a minute to go. Back with Ellis on him. Dunleavy and Abdul Aziz. So now let's switch back to San Antonio. An update on the Sixers and Spurs.
Welcome those of you watching Denver and Houston. Here you're going to watch San Antonio go for the tie. Mike Gale with control against Lloyd Free of Philadelphia. Spurs down, it is Gervin inside who passed it back, and Oberding. Mark Oberding took the pass from Gervin. 107 all. Oberding comes out. They're going to overplay McGinnis right now. He's been red hot. Look at Oberding. They've got to try to deny him the ball. He's got his confidence. They want him to go that way. They get him in there. He gives it back on the pass, and Collins is rolling. And it's going to come up the other way. San Antonio will go for the lead.
Here's George on the outside, taking the baseline. Now watch. Gervin underneath gets good position on that play. George McGinnis runs into him, knocks him down. Makes up defense.
Lead, Washington, 110-107. 44 seconds to go in that one. Here we're tied with a minute to go. 107. The two best teams in the Eastern Conference. Gervin and Collins. Offensive foul is called. That is 5 against George Gervin. His fifth foul. And I would have to say that on defense, Doug Collins has more than held his own against George Gervin, and the key has been the effectiveness to draw the charge from Gervin. 3 offensive fouls against Gervin, but Philadelphia turns it over, and the Spurs will be able to come down. 46 seconds, tied at 107.
That's the problem, Brent. When you've got one guy out front dominating the ball all the time, the other guy's standing around. Lloyd Free just bounced it off his foot instead of passing the ball.
Hawks gave it right back to the corner to Mike Gale. Gale has it hit by Free. Hawks. Shot clock's a factor. Oberding again. Got it at the buzzer as the shot clock goes off. Now they want timeout, but McGinnis came up, and now McGinnis calls time. He wanted to get court position, so they were screaming for timeout. It was McGinnis against 5 players in white jerseys, just dribbled it right up. Timeout has been called. 109-107. 16 seconds for Philadelphia to tie San Antonio.
Yeah. 2:30 this morning?
Yeah, I didn't think I got to score.
109-100, our final here. The Denver Nuggets now have clinched a playoff spot as they have defeated the Houston Rockets. Outstanding balanced scoring in that ball game. Issel with 22, and now let's go to John McLaughlin with Bobby Jones and Dan Issel.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you very much. I have 2 pretty good players here, Bobby Jones, Dan Issel. Bobby Jones, once again, 64% from the field. Bobby, do you feel any pressure? You're leading the NBA in field goal percentage, and you're closing in on Johnny Green's field goal percentage record. Do you feel that at all when you go into the game?
No, not really. We don't have a chance to do that because we're struggling right now, and we're looking to win some games. And so I'm taking some shots that maybe are high percentage shots. I'm just trying to, help the team. And today I got a lot of layups off our break, but I'm not looking for the easy shot all the time.
Okay, Bobby. I got to throw it back to Gary for just a moment. We'll get an opportunity to come back and talk to Dan. Back to you, Gary.
Okay, John, we've got a development down that Philadelphia-San Antonio game. Brett Musburger, Keith Erickson, let's join them down there. San Antonio again.
Welcome to Denver, Houston, folks. Philadelphia going for the tie. Time remaining in the game in the right-hand corner. Collins from the side. It's off. San Antonio, if they can run it out, is going to win, but there's a foul. Hold it. Bill Starr has his hand up in the air. He's got a foul back underneath. And time continued to run.
George McGinnis making a good point here.
It is going to be against Free, but George McGinnis is saying the clock continued to run. And McGinnis saying, come on, seconds ran out.
All right, let's watch this again. 7 seconds. The foul was called right there with 5 on the clock.
So they lose 1 second. It shows 4, but I guarantee you that if we were playing in Philadelphia, it would probably be 6, right? I mean, you got to have the advantage at the home score.
I'd say it's worth more than a second, Brent.
Here's Fultz. With the 76ers just over that penalty limit. So 4 ticks of the clock left. A 4-point lead. And Philadelphia will try to score quickly, probably arch a long pass and then get a turnover. I've seen some very strange things happen in this league with just 4 seconds remaining. San Antonio with a chance to beat Philadelphia for the first time this year. And that really sets up the drama for the playoffs, doesn't it, with these two teams favored to reach the final of the Eastern Conference. And, of course, right after this game, we'll have automobile racing, the U.S. Grand Prix West, live coverage from Long Beach, California. And that's immediately after this. Keith Erickson, have you decided about your most valuable player yet?
Well, I like Billy Fultz in this game, Brent. I think he's done a heck of a job. What do you think?
I'll tell you, ordinarily I would vote for George McGinnis. He played such a good game. I'll tell you what, if San Antonio wins it, I'm going to go for Billy Fultz and we'll make it unanimous. Okay? But I want to reserve my vote or hold it back.
You're giving Philadelphia a chance to win this game yet. Down 4 with 4 seconds to go.
Honest goodness, Keith, I have never seen such wild things happen in this league as with just a handful of seconds to go. The key thing is that the clock doesn't start until the ball is touched by a player on that pass, so it's not when you throw it inbound.
Well, Philadelphia is going to try and go inside and get a 3-point play. I would say that one of the big guys is going to take that ball and drive it to the hole, try and get a 3-point play, and then they're just going to have to steal the ball immediately. If they can't steal it, they're going to have to foul and hope that the San Antonio player misses the free throws. Brent, like you said, anything can happen at this time of the game. 4 seconds is a lot of time.
But they are confident in San Antonio that they have beaten the 76ers the first time this year. They are on their feet. Everyone is standing in the hemisphere.
San Antonio has their big lineup in the game. Mike Green and Billy Fultz, Olberding and Keenan.
Collins looking. It'll be McGinnis, dribbles once, in and out, and that'll do it. San Antonio beats Philadelphia 111 to 107.
I've got you. Well, the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player Award goes to this young man, Bobby Jones. The reason? 18 points and 8 rebounds. So the Chevrolet $1,000 scholarship will be awarded to North Carolina on behalf of Bobby Jones. For John McLaughlin, this is Gary Bender saying goodbye from the Nichols Sports Arena in Denver with a final score. Denver winning 109-100 over the Houston Rockets. And remember, don't go away because next CBS Sports brings you live the U.S. Grand Prix West to the streets of Long Beach, California. Last year's winner, Mario Andretti, will be defending his victory where he finished in front of Nicky Lauda by less than a second. And on Friday night at 11:30 Eastern Time, join us for a CBS boxing special that features a super lightweight bout between Bruce Curry and Monroe Brooks.